Before the world was at war, before Europe burned, it began here. December 7th, 1941, bombs rain. USS Arizona ignites. Pearl Harbor falls, America awakens. This wasn't just an attack. This started World War. On the island of Oahu, the day began like any other Sunday. A soft sunrise drifted over Pearl Harbor, glowing gently across battleships resting in still waters. Sailors stretched on deck, joked with friends, and prepared for an easy morning. But beneath this calm surface, a storm had been gathering for years. By late 1941, tensions between the United States and Japan had reached a breaking point. Japan sought power, dominance, and resources across Asia and the Pacific. America stood firmly in its way. And so, in absolute secrecy, Japan crafted a bold and devastating plan. A surprise strike meant to cripple the U.S. Pacific Fleet in a single, decisive blow. Yet here, in Pearl Harbor, no one suspected what was coming. Not today. Not on a peaceful Sunday morning. Miles away, the Japanese strike force moved silently through the northern Pacific. 6 aircraft carriers, destroyers, and cruisers cut through icy waters, an armada built for maximum destruction. Aboard these carriers, pilots reviewed maps, checked their aircraft, and prepared for the mission that would define their nation's fate. Commanders believed that destroying the U.S. fleet would force America into negotiation. What they didn't foresee was awakening a giant. At dawn, the order was given. The first wave, 183 aircraft, lifted into the sky. Fighters, bombers, torpedo planes. The largest surprise attack in modern naval history was on 7:02 a.m. inside a small radar station on Oahu. 2 young operators spotted something unusual, a massive formation of aircraft heading straight toward them. The signal was undeniable. But when they relayed the warning, it was dismissed. The supervisor assumed it was a scheduled group of American bombers arriving from California. No further action was taken. Meanwhile, the Japanese attack waves flew closer, hidden by luck, clouds, and overconfidence. Pearl Harbor still slept, and the clock was running. 48 a.m., the first Japanese planes roared over Oahu. Sailors looked up in confusion, then horror. Dark silhouettes raced across the sky as dive bombers screamed downward. Torpedo planes skimmed the surface of the water, releasing deadly payloads aimed directly at the battleships anchored along Battleship Row. Explosions tore through the harbor, steel buckled, fires erupted. The USS Oklahoma was struck again and again, rolling violently as water rushed inside. Nearby, the USS West Virginia was engulfed in flames. In a matter of seconds, Pearl Harbor descended into chaos. Devastating climax with the fate of the USS Arizona. As the chaos of the surprise attack unfolded, a single armor-piercing bomb, dropped from a Japanese high-level bomber, found its mark. It plunged through the multiple decks of the battleship, a harbinger of the immense destruction to come, piercing deep into the ship's forward magazine where over 1 million pounds of gunpowder were stored. What followed was a cataclysm of unimaginable proportions. The bomb ignited the gunpowder, triggering a massive, catastrophic explosion that tore the mighty battleship apart from the inside out. A blinding fireball erupted hundreds of feet into the air, a horrifying spectacle visible for miles around. The force of the blast was so immense it lifted the 35,000-ton ship out of the water. In a matter of seconds, the lives of 1,177 crewmen were extinguished, the vast majority of them killed instantly, entombed within the sunken hull. A thick, choking smoke swallowed the sky, casting a dark pall over the harbor. The tranquil waters were now a sea of fire, with flames from the burning Arizona reflecting with a ghastly light. Pearl Harbor was no longer a peaceful naval base. It had become a raging battlefield. And the Arizona flames and confusion, American courage surged to life. Gunners sprinted through smoke and debris, manning anti-aircraft guns as explosions rocked the harbor. Bullets filled the sky as sailors fired back at the attackers overhead. Somewhere between the chaos, two American pilots, George Welch and Kenneth Taylor, reached their aircraft. With little warning and almost no preparation, they took off under fire, engines screaming past burning battleships. Against impossible odds, America began to respond. On the ground, medics dragged the wounded to safety. Mechanics worked through flames and twisted metal to save what they could. Civilians rushed to help, refusing to stand by. At 8:54 a.m., the second wave arrived, 170 planes, more bombs, more destruction. But something had changed. The shock was gone, America was awake, and it was fighting back. At 8:55 a.m., the attack was over. Silence fell over Pearl Harbor, broken only by fire, smoke, and cries for help. Battleships lay shattered, twisted, and burning across the harbor. 2,403 Americans were dead. Thousands more were wounded. The water was thick with oil, the air heavy with smoke. The cost of the morning was devastating. Harbor was not just an attack on ships, it was an attack on a nation's sense of safety. In 90 minutes, the world changed. A sleeping giant was awakened, and history was set on an irreversible course. Today, the waters of Pearl Harbor remain calm, but beneath them rests a reminder that freedom is never free, and that a single morning can reshape the destiny of the world.